I've been able to spend some time with you in SoCal, right? Look at the facility, see what you're building, and you've always been super honest. Like, space is hard, difficult to get there. 500 million in one go. Just explain how that gets you to this world where you are like the traffic conductor in low Earth orbit, moving different orbital planes for different satellites.
Yeah, well, there's a lot happening in space right now. And we're here to basically take over where launch leaves off. So, launch vehicles like SpaceX Falcon get you to low Earth orbit, and we take you everywhere else. We move you around within orbits, and we have vehicles, very high energy vehicles that can take you, out to very high energy orbits or out to the moon, to Mars, and beyond.
The very high energy bit is the bit I find super fascinating. You were demoing for me the propulsion technology you've worked on. So explain how it works. But I think also for a lot of the audience, why is it necessary to move whatever the satellite is from one position in orbit to another? What would cause that?
So if you're talking about Helios, our very high energy product, most satellites that want to get to geosynchronous orbit, like the very high orbit, 22,000 miles out, typically get dropped off in a low Earth orbit, and then they end up in a transfer orbit, and it can take months to get there. With Helios, we can get you there in one day. We have it. It's basically a rocket on a rocket. It's got a big tank full of propellant and a very high energy pump-fed engine on it, and it does a couple burns and gets you to a high energy orbit. It can also take you way more payload to the moon, or to Mars, or to the outer planets.
Helios, the larger, is meant to be flying, in 2027? You've already had the Mirror craft flying 3 missions, and that was first launched in November 2025, or most recently in 2025. I'm interested in what $500 million buys you, because as Ed says, space is hard, but it's also expensive.
Yes. So we've more than doubled the size of the company in the last year, and we're continuing to hire. We've got a new facility here that we're building out. We've just got a lot of work in all sectors, commercial, NASA, and government. So we're addressing all that work, and we're building the highways to the space economy.
You were, of course, integral to the propulsion over at SpaceX, and we think now of the SpaceX mafia that's about to be created by the end of this month, and how much money that might infuse new space technologists, new founders. What does that moment mean to you for SpaceX to go public?
I mean, this is great for building the space economy, and what I say now often is that I think the true space age is starting now. I think we're going to start building mega structures in space, which we're seeing with 1 million data servers. We've already talked about using the resources of the moon, which is something I've been talking about since before I started this company. This is the things that we're super excited for. This is the reason I started this company. This is the reason that employees joined, to do really cool things. We're super excited about this permanent moon base that's been announced by NASA. This is exactly what we want to do.
Tom, part of visiting with you in SoCal is there's a ripple effect. There are companies born out of SpaceX's growth. There is a network of people that are SpaceX alumni. When this biggest IPO of all time happens, what do you think the economic effect will be for your industry?
Gigantic. I think, I grew up in the Star Trek era, the original series, and I felt like by the time I'm this age, we'd be living in a Star Trek world, and I still think we're going to get there. And you got to imagine that in a Star Trek world, the space economy is the biggest part of the economy. Right now, the space economy is single digit of the global economy, and I think we're going to get there where space, by that measure, will grow faster than any other sector.
It's space. It's also defense tech. And we think about the billions that the administration wants to put to work in a so-called Golden Dome. And I'm interested as to how that is going at the moment, how the interceptor work that we understand you've been doing with Anduril, how that progresses at this moment, Tom.
Yeah, we're here to just provide advanced solutions. The government needs to move around. They need to protect their assets. And we're here to help out however we can.
Tom, do you think we'll be in a place where, this year or next, you'll have a demo for the tech or the work with Anduril? We're talking about space-based interceptors, technically. Is that a realistic timeline for the next 12 to 18 months?
I can't talk about the specifics of these programs.
Okay. Let me ask you this one final question on the SpaceX IPO. Reflect on how hard it was those early years for you, and now how you got to this point. I know you're no longer with the company, but it's a part of the story. Real quick.
Yeah. You know, we always said we knew it would be hard, and it was harder than we thought. But I'm super proud of what we achieved. It's, I mean, amazing that this company that I was employee number one at is now, you know, a $1 trillion company. It's just, you know, amazing.